Florence Scovel Shinn has one of the most powerful teachings when it comes to manifestation that really helps you maintain faith, but it seems like most people seem to overlook it. She says that your word is your wand, and what I'm going to explain in today's video is how the real magic and how things unfold isn't just you repeating it 100 times, but really saying this with faith and conviction. Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm touching on something more unique because I obviously want to expand the content and expand my own knowledge to share with you guys. And a book that I've had for a while that I really appreciate and love is by Florence Scovel Shinn. And as I just said in the intro, one of her key phrases is your word is your wand. I'm going to go through a bunch of different quotes and specific statements she said in regards to manifestation and faith. This is going to be a really beautiful, wonderful video, especially if you are religious or you have faith. There'll be extra little tidbits you guys can get from that inspiration. But of course, this is applicable to anyone using manifestation. If you're wavering, if you're struggling to really believe and go forward in the process, then this video is for you. So stay tuned to hear my thoughts, and right before we jump into it, on screen will be all my info. If you have any manifestation questions, concerns, any personal issues with what you're manifesting, please do reach out for coaching or sign up as a member. The join button is right below. You can read about all the extra bonuses and the bonus content and the benefits of signing up, as well as with coaching. Everything is linked right below, so take a look at anything. And now let's start the video. Florence's teachings are based around the fact that your spoken word, although of course it can be mentally, it doesn't have to literally be you say out loud, although that can sometimes help a lot just to kind of speak it out loud to yourself, carries divine creative power basically. So it's this really powerful method where you're not exactly speaking it into existence because it already exists, it's already been created for you, but you're speaking it to yourself, into your life, into your own reality. And it's this creative power where you're imagining and acknowledging, this is the end result that I want. You can apply this to an SP, by the way, and you're saying, you know, this is where that divine power is going to be because I'm saying it out loud, I'm saying it as if it's mine, I'm kind of trying to at least tap into that idea and mindset of having faith and confidence in it. You're saying, this is mine. So when you're affirming, as you guys know, the key and the point of that is to convince your own mind, to saturate your own mind and convince yourself of it, not anyone else, not a circumstance. You're not trying to change anything outside of you. You're convincing yourself, this is mine. And through your faith, you're commanding that. So as I did touch on it, I will speak about it a little bit more, but that can be faith in God, but it also can be faith in your manifestation. And most beautifully, if you combine the two, it helps so much because your affirmations aren't a question. You're commanding that I believe in this. This is my reality. I do have all my goals and dreams already in my life. You're commanding it through faith. You're speaking it out loud. And in the context of religion, as I said, the point would be that if you have faith in God or God, but if you believe in a different higher power, that's okay. That's your own personal choice. And you're speaking that and God is hearing that. And I will say, of course, one of the main mistakes that people sometimes make is trying to affirm from a place of fear and doubt. If you feel the emotion of fear or like a kind of a state of anxiety, something like that, that's okay. And obviously I'm not saying you have to control that or that there's something wrong if you feel that. These things come up naturally. It's a natural process and it takes a lot of consistency and repetition to work through that and not have that come up as an automated reaction and instantly waver if you see your SP or something related to the topic of your manifestation. I'm not saying you have to, in order to do it correctly, you just never feel fear or doubt. But if you're affirming from that place, and you're just feeding into it, you're coming from this desperation and you're not trying to resolve it or recognizing it and having the self-awareness and saying, no, I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to release the fear and the doubt and pushing past that and trying to embody verbally or through your mindset or the way you're standing, just really trying to feed into the end result, being confident, just pretending for now that you truly believe in it already, because the full belief obviously won't be there instantly. But when you come from that place of fear and doubt and it is a consistent thing, then you're probably going to try and force the 3D reality to change. You're going to try and force a change, say, well, if I do just one more hour, then everything will shift. But you're not understanding also how your own mindset and the psychology of everything, your emotional state, your memories, all of that ties into it. So yes, technically you can manifest by putting in extra effort and extra time and just robotically hundreds of times repeating it. But if you're continuing to come from that place of fear or doubt, don't you think that is what is going to continue? So, you know, obviously, like I said, we all sometimes doubt it or have a negative thought or a bad day. That's fine. But when you do come from desperation and lack and just fearing that it will never come true, you're going to have this perpetual cycle that's negative, because you're going to constantly battle those feelings, that mental state, the negative thoughts that are tied into that, which can be minimized by working on your mindset and working through and applying your mental diet to say, nope, I'm not going to let those thoughts take over my mind. Those thoughts are not going to take control of me. I'm not going to come from fear and doubt. If it comes up, I'm pushing back, I'm fighting back, and I'm changing my mindset to be way more positive. Because you never need to force or try and make the 3D reality shift. Like I said, it's all about your own mindset. Another quote and statement that Florence made is that, let me read it actually so I don't mess this up. You must act as if you have already received. So very similar to what Neville Goddard as well teaches. It's the same principle. You think and act as if you are already in that end result. You're not coming from doubt and fear and self-doubt or insecurity. You're coming from this confident end result. You think and speak as if that's true. It doesn't have to obviously be logically, factually true, but you have that faith and you're speaking as if it's already true. And you're coming from this place of, I've already received my end result. I've given it to God. I've said it out loud. I'm applying my mindset work. I'm applying the repetition of my affirmations. I'm putting in the mindset work. Therefore, my reality must shift. You know, I have faith in all of these things. I have faith in, and that's also me speaking personally. All of it combined for me personally, in my experience, has been super helpful. And knowing that I've completely put it out there. For me personally, when I pray, I give it to God. I'm affirming, I'm working on it in my life. I'm not sitting back and, you know, going into a victim mode or thinking about lack and, you know, really focusing on that. I work through that if that does come up for me. And all of the effort that you're putting in with your mindset, speaking it out loud, you know, it's already in motion. It's already on its way to me. So I might as well act as if I already know that for a fact. So try and come from this intention and practice and at least set the intention, because like I said, the belief isn't going to be instantly there. I know that obviously, but once you say it, try and say it once as an intention. Say, this is my life. This is what I'm declaring this. And it actually is setting that law in motion. It's actually bringing everything from the quantum field, shifting your reality to bringing these amazing, you know, points of movement and bridge of events and experiences, tools, people, all the experiences that need to come together for your desired outcome and end result. It's already being set in motion. So try, obviously apply repetition, but set an intention maybe at the beginning of your day. I'm going to say it once and declare it with faith, with confidence. Even if you're just verbally speaking as if you're confident, that's perfect as well. And basically try and get out of questioning. Don't feed into that habit, catch the habit. If your mind tries to waver and go back to the old story, you catch it and you turn it around. Maybe repeat it one more time and another time if you need to, and another time. You know, at the beginning, you may need to apply a lot of repetition with this, but set an intention, you know, do a practice as well where you're just saying it once and you're declaring it. You're really connecting to it. You're feeling it. So the goal, as I said, is just to speak from a place of faith rather than fear or doubt. You obviously don't need to literally believe it straight away. That's not even how the human brain works. So an example of what Florence might recommend, and based on Florence's statements and kind of her writing, phrase that you could say is, by divine right, everything perfect for me now appears. So you would say it super confidently. So if I give you an example, although I'm sure you guys can connect to that naturally, you would, you know, maybe put your hands on your hips or just like do something really confident where you're just saying, if the only thing I do to bring my end result, my manifestation into my reality, this goal that I want to achieve, is by saying it now, I'm going to say it out loud in that way. So you'd say, by divine right, everything perfect for me now appears. And then you just stop and you go on with your day. Maybe work on some other affirmations so your mind doesn't even get a chance to spiral. So that's a good way you could kind of, you know, set an intention, or before you go to bed. So tying in, going on from that, going forward into your manifesting journey overall, try not to micromanage all the elements, the how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. That again, it's coming from doubt, and it may come up naturally. Like I said, that's the way the logical mind works. Try and keep yourself distracted, productive with your manifesting routine, your affirmations, just your life in general. That's what I always tell my clients. That's a big tip I give people through any form of coaching, like be productive. So you don't need to micromanage anything. You don't control anything. Like I said, tying it into having faith if you are religious, believing in God. You don't constantly ask God or say, well, I need to go and do everything now. You trust that God will guide you. So it's very similar to how you can also approach manifestation at the same time. You don't micromanage or say, I'm going to force everything now. I'm going to text SP 5 times a day. I'm going to, email my boss every single day. You don't have to micromanage all these different details. You, I guess, essentially wait for the inspiration to come, the inspired action. You have trust, you have faith, you're focusing your mind on it positively, and then the rest is done through faith. So based on also quantum physics and how the neuroscience ties into this, and the quantum field and everything, once you speak your affirmations out loud, you set your intention, you say it out loud, and you are, also this applies with looping your affirmations, of course, in general, you are literally, through your observation and belief, collapsing that reality into your physical existence. So that desired outcome is already in existence, it's already been created for you, and it's going to collapse into reality because you've been observing it. And that's literally how atoms come into existence. They're just a nucleus and the electrons aren't even there, they have to be observed. So like I said, the literal science behind it as well, it's all about just having faith and belief and focusing on that, observing that outcome, not saying, oh, what if it, it's so far away. No, you're saying, this is my reality. You're focusing on it as if you're already there. One final segment, and for anyone who is interested in the faith element, this can give you lots of inspiration and support. So if you want to hear these points, I have a couple more quotes. And Florence in particular referenced Jesus's words as well. So for example, she would say, according to your faith, be it unto you. Trusting in God and knowing that the power of maintaining your own positive mindset is just the most powerful thing. That's how you go through the whole process with faith, the least amount of wavering, and remembering that God doesn't cause delays. If it feels like you're waiting, if your mindset is positive and you're not wavering and thinking negatively, falling into a victim mindset, which you would be kind of blocking yourself temporarily from achieving what you want, then you also have to remember that outside of that, obviously, God isn't causing delays, it's doubt. So working through your doubt, having that self-awareness, which I say all the time, super important, because if it seems like a delay, there's always a reason for it. It's not for no reason, it's not a punishment, because your faith literally creates your reality. You have to have faith in it. You have to stay focused and not give up and say, oh, I'm giving up, and just coming from a place of self-sabotage. That can be sometimes an easy thing to fall into, especially when emotions are involved, or, you have a specific person, for example. So Florence always spoke from a place of authority, and that's the most important thing, having this confidence and faith. It's going to make it easier if you can work through, or even at the beginning, just not act from a place of fear or doubt, really speak with conviction. And, as I said with Florence, coming from that place of authority with your words, the way you carry yourself, the way you act and speak and think, when it comes to your manifestation, just pretending that you're already in that end result, kind of fake it till you make it, I guess. So say it, really mean those words, really trust in it, like work on your faith, open up to having the faith that it's already done and that God has already delivered it. God has already created it. So it's in existence and it's yours. So that's going to be today's video. I hope you guys found that useful, something different, but I wanted to express, my own experiences and beliefs in terms of how I approach my own mindset and applying faith into it. And Florence has amazing teachings and some really wonderful affirmation recommendations as well, specifically in the book. So if you guys would like an extra updated video on the actual book of hers that I'm reading, maybe going through some of her affirmations, then do let me know. Do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell if you enjoyed this, if you would like to see more videos like this, and I'll see you next time.